Hi everyone, it's Duel from Fortress of Solitude. Now, I've always wanted to get into collectible trading card games since I can remember. When I was younger, I never got into collectible trading card games, and a lot of the reasons behind it was to do with the barrier of entry. My brother and I was concerned, which collectible trading card game would we get into? Where would we go to get into it? Where would we get the cards? And we had all these questions, and basically we just never got to collecting or playing collectible trading card games. The closest we got was actually getting a few Magic cards and trying to play with that. But overall, we never got deeply involved with one of these games. One thing though is that we've always been fascinated with a specific TV show called Yu-Gi-Oh!
Long ago, when the pyramids were still young, Egyptian kings played a game of great and terrible power.
Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an animated show that revolves around kids fighting each other by using cards. These magical cards would summon creatures, and then they would battle each other. They would lay down traps.
You triggered my trap card!
And the whole idea of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Card battle would be to bring your opponent's life points down to 0. Now, that was a show we really loved, but we never got into the actual trading card game. What we did do was we played the PC version of the game a lot. And I mean a lot. We played it as much as we could, but again, we never got into the trading card game due to having all these questions of where do we start and where do we go. Now, luckily, being a bit older, I thought of getting back into trading card games and maybe starting playing one now, having kids that will soon be able to play with me. This was something that I thought I should investigate. And luckily, our friends at Solarpop actually sent me a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Goodies to get me started. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of an overview of what you will need to start playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If you're a beginner like me, you're starting from scratch, you have a bit of an idea of how the game works, but you're not sure, what to get, what do you need to get, how do you get it, where do you get it. I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview, just explaining what you need to get started, should you be interested in Yu-Gi-Oh! The collectible card game. Now, without further ado,
it's time to duel!
Okay, so obviously, first off, this being a collectible card game, you will need actual cards to start playing the game. Now, one of the best ways to get started would be to get one of these, starter Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks. Now, these come in different varieties. Here we've got the Egyptian God decks. So I've got Slifer the Sky Dragon deck and Obelisk the Tormentor deck. Now, basically, both of these boxes come with a few cards in them. You get 40 cards in total. You'll see that it's got 32 common cards, 4 super rare cards, 4 ultra rare cards, and 1 double-sided deluxe game dueling mat. And then obviously it includes all the tips and guides that you would need. Now, the one thing to note is that you will actually know what you'll be getting in these boxes. You'll see that the decks are actually says what cards are in these decks. So these aren't blind packs. You won't be drawing different cards from these packs. You know exactly what you'll be getting. So as a starting deck, as a way to get into the hobby, these two deck boxes or similar ones, this is the way to go just to get you into the hobby. Now, obviously, these decks or boxes each contain 40 cards, but decks do go up to even 60. So you can start adding to these two decks. Should you start buying, little blister packs, you can start adding cards, trading the cards you want, and just start building from this base, basically. Now, these are the cards that I got in the Obelisk the Tormentor deck box. Now you'll notice, the artwork firstly on these cards are really, really great. That's the thing that drew me to Yu-Gi-Oh! In the first place was the totally off-the-wall kind of art you get. Look at this Bazoo, the Soul Eater, and then you've got this Cyber Dragon, and these are all just amazing looking, really good looking cards. Now, one thing to take note is that these cards all actually, you get different print versions of cards, and you get different values of cards. And if you ever want to see see what value your card is, or you're interested in trading a card for another and you're not sure what the value of your card is, you want to be sure to make it, a good trade and not give someone a card that's more valuable than what you actually have, you can always visit sites like Troll and Toad or TCG Player, and then you will be able to insert this little code here, and that little code will then reflect the value of this specific print of cards. So you'll get cards that's got the same name, that do exactly the same thing, but they're different printed versions. There might be a rare or there might be a common. So it's important to know that you can go and check the value of your cards online by just using this little code or ID that you see on the card here. So that's basically as far as it goes for the cards. Now, obviously, this being a trading card game, you want to make sure that your cards are protected, because, as I said, the cards actually have values, and the best way to protect your cards from bending or scraping or getting scratches is getting card sleeves. Now, you get different varieties of card sleeve, different brands. Now this is the actual Konami, Yu-Gi-Oh, Cypher, Obelisk, and Raw card sleeves. And you get different versions. You'll see I've got another version here. And these card sleeves basically have nice little visuals on the back, and then a clear front. Now, one thing to take note of is that whatever sleeve you decide on, all your cards in your deck, including your side deck, which is cards that you would be able to kind of switch out when you're playing a tournament. A game of Yu-Gi-Oh usually consists of 3 rounds, and between round 2 and 3, you are able to switch out cards from your side deck to give you an advantage should you need it. But basically, all the cards in your deck and your side deck need to have the same card sleeves, same color or same graphic design. That's a rule. It's just to make sure that everything is consistent in your deck. But these are some really high quality card sleeves, and these are obviously available anywhere where you can get the cards, at your local hobby shops, at board gaming stores. These actually sell these sleeves, and you don't have to use the Konami brand ones. There are a variety of sleeves out there. The most important thing is to protect the cards. Now, another way of protecting the cards is by getting yourself a player mat. Now, these again come in different varieties, and here is the one that I've got. Again, it's one with the Egyptian god cards on there. And you'll see that this is, for those PC gamers out there, this is basically a giant size mouse pad with some really great graphics on there. You'll also see that there are little ghost images here of where to place your cards, so it also assists with card placement. As you can see, there are little ghost images of where to place your cards. But this is also a really important item to have when you want to protect your cards, because the cards will now basically have a nice soft surface to be placed on, to slide on, and having that along with the actual sleeves means that your cards are protected at all costs, but it also keeps your play area neat, nice and tidy, and helps to assist when you need to know where to place your cards. So these are the player mats. You actually, again, you get different versions. Here's another one I've got. So you can actually get a player mat that will fit with your deck, your play style, it's basically up to what you like. And that's really what's nice about a collectible trading card game, especially one like Yu-Gi-Oh! You can customize your deck however you want to play. You can customize your play mats, your sleeves, and you can really make it your own. So then, after you've actually have your cards, you've got your sleeves, you've got your play mats, there is the deck box. Now, these little boxes are made of a nice sturdy plastic, so you can now place your decks into these little tuck boxes, and it means that you can have your whole deck with you at all times, nice and safe. Because even if you have these sleeves, there will be times when your cards might be sat on by someone, or they might actually get bent. But once you have it in one of these little nice boxes, again, you can get anyone you like to fit with your deck. Once you've got one of these nice little boxes, your cards are in there safe. And along with the sleeves, if you have your cards are sure to be kept safe and won't get any damage. And then lastly, because you can't carry all your cards with you all the time, although you'd like to, another something you can get is an actual file for your cards. So you can then place your cards that you aren't using, that's not part of your deck right now, that you've got in reserve, you can place into one of these folders and actually file them, and you've got easy access to them. You can get them out when you need them, they're safe, and you've got them in one place. It just helps keeps everything organized, and makes the hobby so much more enjoyable when you know where everything is. So that's basically what you need if you want to get into a Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Obviously, as I mentioned, you do get little loose blister packs as well. Now these blind packs, you will be able to draw various special or rare cards, and this is also part of the fun. Sure, it can be expensive to get into a collectible card game such as Yu-Gi-Oh, but if you play it, if you're smart about it, if you get someone to trade with you, if you you pace yourself, you get a starter deck, you'll be able to actually get into the hobby without too much of a problem. But this is for me part of the fun. It's getting one of these packs, opening it up, and seeing what special cards you get. So this is one of the draws for me to into the hobby. It's great to have pre-built decks, but getting these little packs, starting to customize your deck, that's what I'm looking forward to. That's why I want to get back into or want to get into playing TCG games. So this is basically what you need. I'm gonna give you just a bit of feedback of what to expect in the future, but let me give you an overview of what we just covered here, and yeah, that's it.
It's time to duel!
And there you have it. That's basically the basic stuff you need to get into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Collectible trading card game. Now, I know it might seem a bit overwhelming. It was for me at first. But once you start reading up a bit on the hobby, there are so many helpful guides out there, whether it be videos, articles about how the game works, how to get into it, where to get cards. There's just a lot of information out there. And in South Africa, the hobby is actually growing a lot faster than I could have imagined. Now is a great time to get into something like Yu-Gi-Oh! And for me, it's not just a draw of meeting new friends, getting out there again, starting to play tournaments. But for me, it's also spending some time with my family, getting my kids into this card game, letting them understand it, getting them to understand the nuances. I want to learn with them. And I think that's what makes a collectible card game like Yu-Gi-Oh! So great. So if we'll be in the next few weeks, we'll be covering a bit more about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. We'll be talking about how you can get involved in local tournaments, how you can start building a basic deck, and more importantly, how the game actually works. So I'll be doing a video on just a basic run through of how the game actually works. But overall, I'm really excited getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm really excited for the journey ahead, and I'm really looking forward to actually start playing and meeting people in the community. So if you'd like to know more, please go and read the articles and watch the videos on Fortress of Solitude. But for now, I'm Devil Low, signing off. So go out and duel!
It's time to